on this in our office. We've got several reps that are currently doing this. Interrupt me at any time. It's not a big deal, because I really, really want you guys to try to grasp this. And if you know people in this that this might suit, please let us know. What I'm going to talk to you guys today about is Section 79. Section 79 is an IRS code. Okay, it's been challenged many times. It's been around forever. Most of you probably have never heard of it, other than maybe the attorneys here and Mike Foley. But what I've also found is most CPAs do not know about Section 79. When they find out about it, most of them are scared to death of it. And the reason they're scared to death of it is because a lot of times their clients get audited with it. This right here is all of the court case, IRS challenges, whatever have you, that have gone down. Section 79 has never been defeated, ever. Okay? So I want to put you at rest on that, because what I'm going to say to you, you're probably going to think, it's too good to be true, can't believe it. Okay? We have an illustration right here on a 42-year-old business owner. 42-year-old business owner, maxing out his defined contribution plans, had extra money, never going to be able to retire on a defined contribution plan, $17,000 a year, all he could put into it, until he found out about Section 79. Now, the numbers are lofty, but you got to remember, okay, and I'm going to get to who's a fit for this. This is one example, you guys, but I want to show you the power of this. A 42-year-old male, you have to be insurable. It is a life insurance product. Okay, we use life insurance to fund these. $100,000 a year in contributions for 5 years. We'll pay him at age 65 $183,000 for the rest of his life. A $500,000 contribution sits for, what, 12 years, 13 years? No, 8 years. It stews for 8 years, and it pays him $183,000 a year for the rest of his life. Now here's the kicker. Tax-free. Tax-free. What happens is about 60%, roughly 60% of the contributions that go in are taxable as W-2 income. So you do have to pay some taxes on it. And it's up, the tax people can work it out, but typically we tell people up to about 60% of it can be taxed. So the contributions are taxed in that way. Sometimes they're not taxed that high. It just depends on the person. The point that I'm making is there's a lot of people out there, and we hear it all the time, I don't have any place to put my money. I make all this money. And we come across people like that all the time. My business is doing well. Attorneys, doctors, dentists, they're making a lot of money, but they're not saving any money for their futures. And what happens is they get to the end of the road and they don't have money saved to continue the lifestyle that they have. Now, I've talked about a $500,000 contribution. Honestly, you guys, as low as $15,000 a year can fund a Section 79 plan. And the earlier you get started on it, obviously, the more income that you're going to have. So every single one of you in this room that knows somebody or is somebody that owns a business qualifies for Section 79. Now, again, you have got to have a tax person that is willing to do this. Why do I keep saying that? Because a lot of tax people do not want to deal with Section 79. We find it in our offices all the time. They come in, we do seminars. No thanks, it's too much work. So maybe you need to find somebody, if you currently have a tax person that doesn't want to deal with Section 79, maybe you find someone who will. Maybe Mike can help you out. Maybe somebody else that you know can help you out. But it is a very, very viable way for you to put money away for the future. So, what's the perfect model? You've got to be under 61 for it to really, really work. You need to be under the age of 61, unless you're really looking at working longer. You need to have at least $15,000 in extra income that you can put away per year. You need to be able to do that for 5 years. Now, in the event you cannot fully fund it for 5 years, let's say you have a decrease in income or something happens, the wheels fall off the wagon, we can redo it, and and maybe add an extra year or two for you to catch up the plan. But ideally, we want to go into it with full financial planning, knowing that you can fund this thing for 5 years with no hiccups. Now, I mean, you can do the math. The younger you are, and the more you can put in, the more income you're going to have lifetime. And again, I've got plenty of IRS code sections there for you to pour over if you're that kind of person. I know the attorneys love that kind of stuff. They take that on vacation with them. But just suffice it to say that,
no way.
they're the ones reading books on vacation. You go, why would somebody read that? It's an attorney. Don't worry about it. It's okay. They're not sick. But anyway, you need to have discretionary income. Again, this was a 42-year-old male. This guy owns an asphalt company out in the Riverside area. Has been doing it since he was 23 years old. Owns his own company. He and his wife got it together, got a $20 million net worth, and he has no money saved. Because he's got stuff. He's got a lot of illiquid stuff, but he doesn't have cash. So he spends a lot of money. He lives that rock star lifestyle. And so this is really just a drop in the bucket. And this was just an example to show what can be done with this plan. And I really think at the end of the day, folks, you know, yeah, this doesn't fit a lot of people, but it does fit more than you would think. Especially when you're talking about, you can bring this all the way down to $15,000 per year. When you look at some of the expenses or just some of the casual spending that some of us have, $15,000 is a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. And for somebody who's young, you know, $15,000 is a great start. And here's the deal. Okay, you fund it for 5 years. Okay, you're done funding that 5 years. Now you're older. As long as you're insurable, you start another plan. And if your rep is smart, and I am, I'm gonna run a term policy alongside of this, so that when you're done paying on the first Section 79 plan, we'll convert that term so you don't lose all the money and you get started on the second 5 years. So you can keep doing this. You can build and build and build. So the younger you are, the more money you can put away, and this is tax-free. And I don't think there's anybody in this room that thinks that taxes are going down. 2 minutes. So, are there any questions on Section 79 or anything retirement related? Yes?
So it's always like a 5-year...
It's a 5-year block.
It's a 5-year block. So it's like 5-year block, 5-year block,
yep.
5-year block, 5-year block.
You see, like as young as you are, you could...
Go ahead.
No, sure.
The just last thing would be that, like, any like a rough idea what the numbers would be? Because, you know, like of a smaller amount, like let's say someone would be like 15, 20...
I'd have to run an illustration for you. This was $100,000. This was $100,000 on this client, but you know, a $15,000 plan, depending on how, you know, again, when it started, I mean, you're still talking about a substantial amount of money when you're looking tax-free. I would imagine you're still probably talking $20,000, $30,000 a year.
So then, when it goes to like for that gentleman, after 5 years, then he's going to have you said like 180,000.
If he doesn't put any more money into it, if that's the only thing he ever runs, he has 183,000 coming to him at age 65 per year, every year, for the rest of his life. Can't outlive it.
The numbers don't even seem like they compute.
Well, the death benefit inside of it, you guys. First of all, it's $2.3 million worth of life insurance. So he's got the debt. His wife and survivors have a $2.3 million death benefit on his head. That's where the money. That's where it comes from. The death benefit. Something happens. So let's say, okay. So let's say policy year.
Make sure that's a sound marriage.
Policy year 21. Policy year 21. He is 63 at that point. Has not even started taking income. The cash inside of it is over $1 million just from accrued interest. So, okay, so let's say he bites it in the 30th year. He's been taking 7 years of income. There's still $684,000 worth of cash inside the plan.
You mentioned 500 for 12 years and you will still get paid 180, and then the other example
No,
you
not
said...
500 for 12 years.
No, sorry.
100 per
excellent program. And he's right, it's been around for a long time. So I would urge you to seriously talk to Rick about that program.
The contributions that you put in,
Yep.
you don't have to take that after tax. You can just put it in, and then the tax will come off when you get it.
It's treated as W-2 income up to a percentage, and it depends on what tax bracket you happen to be in. But like, this guy's in it's a 40% tax bracket, so I'd have to look through it. I don't remember exactly what his W-2 income was going into the plan, but even at that, and see, here's the thing I didn't mention. This is kind of like an added benefit. If you have 10 employees, let's say, okay, your 10 employees, just as an ancillary thing to Section 79, they get $50,000 worth of term life insurance for free. Okay, so like Ralph said, companies have been doing this for executives for years. This is just something now that has been brought out by there's 3 insurance companies that are really pushing this to folks like yourselves, doctors, attorneys, business owners that have large incomes because they don't have any other place to put their money.
We all meet about 10 people, business owners a day, each one of us average. How do I start referring people to you? If I want to play it right now, you are me and I'm you. You're thinking about me. What would you do to a business owner that you see like 10 out of a day?
Well, what I would just say is that depending on how well you know him, I mean, if you know this person,
We all know them because
okay.
they're all just like
well,
us.
you just say, hey, you know, what are you doing for retirement planning? Do you have any benefits for your employees? A lot of times that can open up the door because again, Section 79 immediately puts $50,000 worth of term insurance on all of their employees for nothing. The employee pays nothing.
So what do you say?
Okay, we should probably wrap this up. I
All right.
hate to say it, but do a one-to-one with Rick and
I'll talk
learn about
about
Section 79. Sounds like a great program.